So here I am representing Global Aluminium. So we are into aluminum profiles for the facade and other architectural applications. So this is a resolution of evaluation, determination and the perseverance. Excellence was the only motive for the company to be started. Yes, of course, a lot of people were telling India don't have the quality standards or we cannot build up quality, and also that hit our mind, and we thought whatever we do, we should do it of international standard and let not the fame of India go down. So we are making one of the finest quality profiles, and of course related with the service. If you are not able to deliver the products on the time, then the quality is not measured. Of course, for the Indian mentality, even the pricing has to be cost effective. So even we are trying to maintain that. So this was our thing, to strive, to perform, to lead. We are an ISO 9001 accredited company, and we operate in 2 units. So basically this was an older unit started in 97, which has 5 extrusion presses. And this is unit 2, which we have started about 1.5 years back. And believe me, this is the best setup of India as of now for the extrusion facilities. And we are proud of it. So unit 1 is spread across 9 acres with 40,000 square meters of construction, and the balance is for the greenery. We have in-house foundry, then 5 extrusion machines ranging from 700 to 1800 tons press, that we call it as 4 inches, 5 inches and 7 inches billet extrusion. We have the die maintenance shop, then the in-house staff quarters, and unit 2 is spread across 30 acres with 140,000 square meters of area. We have 4 extrusion machines ranging from 700 to 3,000 ton press. What we call is at 4 inches, 5 inch and 9 inch extrusions. And here we have the online surface treatment of anodizing, powder coating, and shortly we are adding the wooden finish for the interior applications. Again, the die manufacturing, maintenance shop, quarters, canteens. Our core competencies is the organizational architecture, skilled workforce, and the quality standards. We are put up with the most advanced equipment, with the latest technologies. Whatever comes in, we keep on adding to it. And being in India, of course, we are planned with the 100% power backup facilities. This is how the company has grown in the past few years, right from 97 to 2012-13. And of course, we are going to make a bigger leap now onwards. In-house foundry, I want to cut down short on this as now, because this foundry is mainly we are using it for the harder alloys which we are using for the engineering sector. For the 6063 alloy, which is normally used in the architectural, now Vedanta and Nalco are supplying us the billets. So generally we take the billets from them, and this foundry is being used only for the harder alloys to be made. So generally we have 4 melting furnaces. Now we are only operating 2 hot tub casting machines, Spectrovac for the chemical testing of the chemicals, nitrogen degassing, tribal grain refining for better molecular structures, ceramic pore filtrations for avoiding any kind of intrusions, online homogenizing process, which gives you again the better molecular structure and the proper finish on the surface of the extrusions. Ultrasonic testing for the crack detection in the billets. Now these are the extrusion press. We have 9 in numbers, 5 in the unit 1 and 4 in this thing. And all the extrusion presses are with the PLC controlled automated systems. They are synchronized with the PLC control pullers, variable tonnage stretching machines to give you as much as straight profiles. Then this is the die manufacturing and maintenance shop. We have over 15,000 dies and covering a range of 8,000 profiles. And we think we are the second largest in range in India today. And all our dies are being made out of the H13 imported die steels. We don't compromise on this, so we get a better die life, and we don't disturb the service for the supply of the profiles. So these are the machineries, CNC machines. Now we are talking of quality. And how do we get the quality? The first thing is the people should have the attitude to make quality. That is how we have started. And these are certain equipments what we have to cross-check our ability or the things what we want to provide. This is the mechanical testing machines to check the strength of the profiles. Then we have the video measuring for measuring the small corners, radius, or any critical dimensions. Then we have the Escona profile testing machine. This is an online testing for the extruded profiles with the drawing what you have in the backup of your computer through which you have made the die or the profile. So it measures automatically and give you the result whether the section is in the allowable limits or not. Then again you have the spectrometer for the chemical testings. So these are the machines what we have been speaking about. Conductivity test is for the electrical testing. This is the surface coatings. We have an in-house integrated surface coating that is for the anodizing and powder coating. The anodizing process has been introduced with the sandblasting, which is a pre-treatment surface cleaning method by which we are avoiding etching process, which is more polluting. And by the sandblasting, we are able to give you a scratchless surface finish. So we have a total automated 25 tank process. It's PLC program, timer, and auto movement. All the tanks are automated, temperature controlled. Even we have the coloring facilities. And we have a proper cold sealing with a hop dip rinse. So this gives you proper protection after anodizing, so you don't have any kind of stains or anything on the material. This is again the powder coating, which is one of its most kind of setup with a proper baking for the powder curing. Generally in India, whatever powder replicators we have, they have reduced or shortened the length of the curing oven to avoid the cost, but that reduces the life of the powder. So we don't compromise on the quality, and this is the automated system what we have been giving. Online transfer of, this is a pre-treatment 9 tank process automated, and from there it is transferred to the powder coating through conveyors. And Global Aluminum have been serving the industries in architectural, automobile, defense, aerospace, electronics, and electrical, hospital, solar and wind power, transportation, telecommunications. And this is how we have been exporting, and we are spread across. So we have our own marketing offices in Australia, Delhi, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai, Coimbatore, and Mumbai. And these are some of the other countries where we have exported the extrusions. We are continuing to export the extrusions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Agarwal.
Why you are thanking me? I've helped you for completing it fast.
Yes, you have helped me to complete it in time. But
I
yes.
can ask one or two questions if anybody has, since I've completed in time.
Yes, sure.
So anybody has any questions or any query about the extrusions or aluminum, I'll be glad to answer it. Sure. We can make up to 300 millimeters. CCD, yes, CCD up to 250 CCD, 300 mm width.
Many are talking very poor or bad about Indian market coming to facade. What is your biggest challenge you faced during this sudden growth? What is your biggest challenge? What do you feel? what is your, not in quality, to serve in the market, to sustain this growth, what is your challenge? Or you face any challenges?
No, of course, we face challenges. One is, right, in practical, what we are facing is the financial crunch. Builders doesn't pay on time, so we have to shift the orders. So the material, some other material is produced and now the contractor wants for some other project. That is the biggest challenge, but still we try to accommodate to save the time. Second, again, the delivery. If it is not planned and all. Sure.
See, you doing cold quenching and chamber quenching, right? The cooling the extrusions.
Yeah.
So as we discussed, many people not aware of the differences on the 6000 series, 6006, 6061 or 6063, even 605,
Yeah.
So the extrusion difficulties you face technically for some sizes. Somebody asked what is the CFD size. He said 250 by 300, right?
Yeah.
So the similar, some extrusions in exceeding 250 and for some mullions and things like that. You have difficulty in getting 6061 or 6063 to achieve the structural properties. So you have to highlight more and what is your view on this and what you want to tell to the fabricators and this facade community.
So basically, extruding and extrusion is not that tough job. It can be done in 6063 is the easiest alloy, what we call it, because it's not an harder alloy or something. But most of the fabricators want to control the weight range per meter or something, and at the same time they want the hardness or harder alloy on that. So depending upon the thickness, we can make the harder alloy. The thickness what we choose it for 6063, the same thickness is not good for 6061 or 6005, which is an harder alloy. So either the thickness has to be more, and moreover 6061 is a water quenched alloy. So when we are quenching it in water, there is more possibility of distortion of the section and all. So nowadays in the architectural 6005 alloy is being commonly used because that is an air quenching profile and it gives the same properties of a 6061. So if the thickness is selected properly, then making harder alloy profile is not difficult. Lack of knowledge, I would say, or this thing, understanding the alloy. Like European countries and all, nobody is using 6063 now. Everybody is using 6005. Even if the profile is selected for a 6063 and if he is using 6005, he is getting 25% of more strength. So it can bear more of wind load or the distortion levels. So 6005 is a new alloy and it is always recommended for the architectural applications. And we are already making it.
All
Anybody
right.
else?
Thank you so much, Mr. Agarwal.
Thanks.
And
Thank you.
they have a booth outside, so any more questions, any more clarifications can be sought thereafter. Now is the time for another very interesting panel discussion. And the panel comprises a mix of very experienced and some young powerhouses to discuss their challenges, to discuss about how green a facade can be and the various applications of glare and green applications that commonly they are called. So let me please welcome the panelists for this session. We have Mr. Mahesh Arumugam. The man needs no introduction after the enthralling presentation in the morning. He's the director, Meinhardt Facades. Then we have a small change. We have Mr. Guru Prakash from Infosys. He's the regional manager. He's an expert in the facades. Then we have Mr. Balaji Konidala. He himself, he needs no introduction. He is the most popular glass man in the industry. He knows the glass like back of his hand. Then we have Mr. Sanjay Balan from RSP. Once again, Mr. Karan Keswani from Aluplex, the youngest of the lot, probably, determined to take Aluplex to newer heights. And to moderate this very interesting session, we have Mr. Dev Chandwani and Mr. Selvam Ramanathan together who are going to put up some very interesting questions. And I hope you all are ready. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Very good. Little bit of exercise is good for health. Okay, so we did it. If you want to do it like this, you can also do it. Or if you don't want to do that exercise, so you can clap at least for this panelist, what we have right now. Good. So I always respect seniors, so I'll request my senior Selvam to start this panel discussion.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Everybody feels sleepy, I believe. Good lunch we had. So, we have reached the interesting part of the day. From here, we will start discussing about what we want to do for future. From morning, if you would have seen the way the program was organized, if you all would have noticed, there was just one single word was there always in every panel, every discussion, and even in the presentation, a grievance, which is we do not have standard, okay? We do not have skilled workforce, okay? We don't have facade contractors. I'm sorry, otherwise, India would have never been built with beautiful glass. I think they have to correct it. Without contractors, they never would have built. But what is the solution for that? Are we going to still complain, keep on complaining, and somehow the building is get built? Okay, we are not going to have resource. We are not going to have standards. So the idea of World of Facade when we started last year was to bring everybody in the same platform. This seminar is not here to advise on what is a new trend. Rather, we are here to start with the basics of what we can do so we can become healthier. So we started last year, it was well received, and we went on. India being a democratic country, we always believe in participation and empowerment. That's what we all fight for. That's how we have been given even freedom. So we took that process hardly into our business line now, and where we stand today after this 1 year. If you look behind me, you see this round logo which is called IFA. So the idea was first to get all the stakeholders together, which we did over the year. And to make it more transparent, this association was not like any other association you see in India. This is a proper Section 25 company, something like NASSCOM. So everything is done transparently. Everything is available public. So the main idea of IFA is public. What we have done so far, we formed the association. So who will be the members? We went back to public. So who is the public? So we selected the contractors who were there. There are 200 of them. And 70 of them went for a voting system. They have voted a 9-member team to form this association. They were founders. They arranged this voting system. Then the members were selected through an electoral process. Then the members come in. And we started our dialogue with our stakeholders. Who are our stakeholders? As a facade contractor, what we do? We are the cook. Client is our guest. That's how you have to look at it in simple terms. Client come, he sits in the table. Can I have a mutton biryani? That's all he will tell. So it's up to us how we cook the mutton biryani. Maybe if I'm a smart guy who's taking the order, I ask him which state biryani you want. You want Hyderabadi, Bangalore, whatever, right? Otherwise, we just go by the menu. Then what happens behind the scene? Like in facade, the same. We have facade contractor, but behind the scene, all our stakeholders, they are our suppliers, they are our backbone. So without them, you will not get biryani. Maybe you will get a curd rice end of the day if you don't cook it right. That's what you are getting nowadays, I hope. So we go back to the suppliers. They tell, okay, to cook biryani, you need this rice. Okay, rice supplier, water supplier, curry supplier, mutton supplier. So similarly, we have glass supplier, extruders, everybody. So we called them all. We said, now you tell us what you can serve us. So we can give better biryani to our guests. So that's how we started. Now we called everybody. We asked them, okay, what you can deliver in India so that I can service my client, what he wants. So they all started coming slowly because it's a learning curve, it's a process. So we started, and last December 12th, we launched the guideline, which I'll cover in the next section towards the evening, which is very interesting. So morning someone was asking in this forum, India doesn't have a guideline. Sorry, it is there today. And it will be available in public by end of this year. In next 10 months, the baby is conceived. I hope we will deliver a healthy baby by end of December, exactly 10 months from now, by engaging all the stakeholders. However, we felt if we do it in the kitchen, nobody will understand. Finally, what client will take, he'll take the book, he will say, somebody has cooked something, so why I do have to follow? So this forum, the main idea is we want the public to participate on sensitive topics of this guideline. See, our guideline is not going to be something we just go and copy something from US. We are Indians. We have our terrain. We have our culture. We have our conditions here, which is natural. It is not similar to US. Why I have to blindly follow an American standard, which is irrelevant to me? But today we follow because we don't know. How am I related to British? We chase them out of this country. And today somebody asks, why I have to test for British standard? Come on, wake up. Why we can't have our own standards? What's wrong with us? That's a question we asked and we had the answer. But we want you all to participate. I start this dialogue. So at least I given you the background of this program. Now I start with the question. See, all we discuss here, if you all think this is like a TV show, every day we watch, from 8:30 to 11:30. Nowadays, I scared to switch on the TV because everybody scream and shout. End of the day, what they take home, I don't know. Maybe if somebody has an idea here, you can tell me. But I always strongly believe in democracy, the discussion have to be taken forward positively. Then only at least there is something to go forward. Here, the questions what we ask. We would like the panelists to give their honest opinion, what you feel, because this is for the nation and this is for the future. Until you step down from here, please forget that you are working for an institute or you own a company, but you are all specialists in your own field. Please help us, please help the industry by giving a honest answer so that we can capture the honesty and we document it. So end of this year, this will be published. Okay. So with this, I just start quickly because I given only half an hour, Dave. I think you see he's already running his stopwatch. I always hear this word, green facade. Green in facade. Morning also somebody showed a building, very nice, green building. Is that a green building for me? How we can elaborate a green, word green in facade material? If I can start with Sanjay, he's an architect. You can pick up the mic, Sanjay.
Hello.
The word green in facade material.
Yeah, it's on. All right. I think this panel discussion is very interesting and it overlaps a lot on what I'm supposed to speak
Wow,
about later.
that's good.
So anyway, I'll take the opportunity to add some level of detail to these issues now, and maybe later we can just focus on concepts. So what is green? I think you have to look at it holistically, and if you look at historically in India, we've always lived sustainably earlier, and we had a holistic view of, how the world or the universe operates. Today, because of growth and the way we're being pushed, time-wise, we are forced to adopt ready-made technologies, what maybe from overseas, and even our rating systems that everybody looks to for leadership are not really tuned to what we need in India. The emphasis may be on issues that actually lead us to spend more money where we shouldn't be spending, and focus less time on innovating and bringing up context-based solutions. So what is green? If you look at it holistically, I think it has to be the most efficient facade in terms of production, material used, and also capex, opex. Finally, because the amount of money you spend, capital, to put up the facade is not the only criteria, but many times because the person putting up the building is not the actual user or the operator, they only focus on capex. They never focus on the opex. And earlier in the day, there was another talk where someone said, why can't we bring back savings which accrue through OPEX and bring it back and then put it into a better facade. So for me, green is not just a word, a buzzword, adding a few features, light shelf, no light shelf. I think we have to achieve the objective with the least amount of energy, time, money going into each and every program. Therefore, we can ensure a larger spread. The solution can reach more people, a wider audience, and therefore make a real difference.
Good. So, Guru, what do you feel green in your term? That's you.
Yeah, about these rating systems and all, there is this.
No, not about rating. I'm asking about the word green. Green, the word green in facade material.
Yeah, I was just coming to that because there was a mention of the rating system as well.
Okay.
So there is a very wrong notion about having a LEED platinum building or any highest rated green building performing very well. It is not true. You can have a fully glazed building and you can still get a LEED platinum rating. I mean, we should definitely not talk about rating at all when you're talking about any green buildings or
Right.
green facades. So the way I see it, or the way we see it as a client, is there are three important factors or performance factors which are attributed to the facades. And over the last 4 hours since I've been here, there is one aspect of the whole discussion that was not talked about, which is the occupants of the building. We're talking about the cleaning system, safety of the operators, I mean, ease of construction, ease of material availability and all those things. But what about the occupants? The facade is supposed to be a medium between the interior and the exterior of the building, right? So it is supposed to be a fabric where the building interacts with the exterior atmosphere. So in terms of the occupants, we need to look at natural light, because when you sit in a building, a green building or environment-friendly building, you would want to have natural light. You wouldn't want to sit continuously in a box like this without any views outside. You would want to have good views outside, and you would want to minimize solar heat gains into the building, right? So as you said rightly, just copying what is being done in the developed countries is just not a solution. All the ratings, even the codes that exist today, they are not mandatory. The Energy Conservation Building Code is the only code we have which specifies the percentage of glass. That is also recommended. It's only recommended. And I think there are many ways to achieve a very good design of building without compromising on the performance in terms of daylighting or solar heat gain, so that the occupants are comfortable inside. So that's the whole aspect of a green facade that we look at.
Good, great. If I ask Mahesh, as a layman in this industry, what I learned. In facade, when I call the material green, it is 100% recyclable. First, maybe there are 10 factors to call it green. I believe the first factor to be green, the word green comes when the material is recyclable. Am I right? And environment friendly. Am I right in saying that?
In a way, yes, because aluminum is 100% recyclable when you use aluminum. Glass also, to get a good quality, the gullet waste, whatever they're producing, the cut waste in the factory itself, 20 to 25% they can recycle. For a good low-end glass, maybe all the floor glass manufacturers maybe use less than 10% of the gullet wastages. So there is a recycle, and the metal is processed and going again to the bath just melt and come back. So the previous process has been saved. So there is some amount of energy saving on the
So
process.
I'm right to say that, word green also tags to this recycle process, yes? Okay. If that's so, in India, are we following it?
See, in paper, yes. And also the material coated and finishing coming.
Okay.
There is a list of checks, check and balance in place, then it's been 100% can be carried out.
Okay, now, yes, the answer.
Yes. This panelists are agreed with what you're saying?
You can ask them, they are saving life, so now they have the answer.
I just wanted to ask, are you agreeing to what he's saying or?
See, he's showing there is a non-fire retardant material used and got fired, so don't use fire.
No, I'm talking about the green one, right? You're talking about the green material, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, so in that correction.
Yes.
So, Garan, you want to say something, yeah? Please.
No, I think that the point that Seven has shown up with the video, the primary source of the fire transmitting so fast is the AC value, which Seven has said. And today, most projects, large projects, FRACP is specified, but there's no regulation, so it's not in all projects. So again, that's done will not change. And another big problem today is that there's no FRACP manufactured in the country. So that is hindering the reason why FRACP is used in projects. All ICP
To tell you honestly, the countries, whatever you see, after this fire accident, they banned
FRACP.
the non-FR material. But today, 1997, immediately they banned the raw material. Today, you go to Middle East, I hope last you will be saying yes to what I'm saying, because they also changed. Because I couldn't download the video for Dubai last year. There was a huge fire. Immediately they stopped. And why we have to wait? We have to change. And India is not a dumping ground. Because there is no voice, nobody to ask. Whoever is thinking India is a dumping ground, please change your mind. We are no longer a dumping ground. By end of the year, I'm telling you guys, either you treat India as a country and start respecting it, or you will be changed. That's it. That's a message which goes to people who think India is a dumping ground. We continue with this because we have half an hour. So, we will document a green material under this parameter. If it is not safe for the environment, we will not specify in our guideline. So, it is up to us. It is us, our future generation. Please keep that in mind. Tomorrow my kid can be in a school what I built with this material. God forbid something happens. So please take this back home. And the change is here in this room. Today we have 310 people. We are all from different community. But if we 310 take a oath to tell tomorrow if I do something I will not change, the world will change. I go back to the next question. During the lunch break, just chatting with Guru Raj, I was standing in that hall. I really loved it because there's no light. There's no light. But when I enter this hall, it's bright with light. So according to you all, why we are struggling so hard in usage of daylight? Why we cannot use a daylight to light up our building? Yes, Sajid.
Yeah, actually, like architects think that architecture can solve every problem, doesn't work that way. That way the facade doesn't really solve every problem either.
Of course.
As Guru Prakash was stating, with daylight, actually two factors to both building design that solve more than 50% of the energy efficiency issues before you start detailing the facade. And the first one is orientation. You get the orientation wrong, it's always fighting uphill battle. Second thing is width of the floor plate, location of the core. If you're willing to actually put in a little more money in, sacrificing some common area, spending a little more on the total square meterage of the facade divided by the floor area, and moderating your floor widths, then I think long term you have the benefits. Again, this plays into the operating expenses more than the capital expenditure, and therefore somehow
building wider and wider floor plates, setback to setback architecture.
So you mean to say that considering what we have today for us, every development is happening with a simple motive, okay, this is my capex, I don't want to expand. I don't care about OpEx.
Capex,
That's all. Can I say that?
highest occupancy rate per square foot, and therefore you end up with these really wide floor plates which don't work. They don't balance all the requirements out, and it's only the more discerning client or user who perhaps has suffered in the past or is deriving their concepts from facilities overseas who are sensitive to this aspect. And
See, just to ask, there are a few clients here, I believe, in this gathering. Why the consideration is so much? Are we looking at the initial investment should not increase, but I don't care about the future? You know, for past 50 days or so, if you see the whole nation is looking at Delhi, the word army, but if you look at what they are fighting for, it's just the power example. Do we all know that average we have a power increase of 30% in every district? I mean every continent we are in. Every year the power tariff is going up, and unfortunately we do not have the resource. And according to, if I understood them correctly, the client is looking at a shorter benefit rather than future benefit.
Sorry, but I will step in there. I think as a contractor, what I found with developers is that they model for the project or how what they look at depends on the same model for the project. If the building is going to be self-owned and they're going to lease the building, they spend a very high capex. And if the building is going to be to sell to different consumers in the floor space, they minimize the capex. And I've seen that. We've done projects today where we have sunshade motorized sunbreakers outside buildings with laminated low BGUs. But that's a building which is leased out. When a building is sold, they don't tend to bother about that. And their focus is more on getting the LEED ratings so they can gain points and use that for marketing. That's what I personally find as a contractor. It's a very nice way that he's explained it. I'd like to make one more description. Every building is ultimately leased out, but it depends on whether it's built to suit or it's totally speculative. It's built to suit, end user has a big say, and therefore standards can be raised. I mean, it's not like a developer does not want to do the best. We all want the best. It's ultimately, their budgets are being stretched, their margins are being compressed because if a tenant is purely speculative and dealing with multiple tenants or uncertain tenant groups, then there's no way that they can foot the bill. Someone has to foot the bill.
Yeah, but at the end of the day,
but if the rental rate is too low, then I think the tenant has
you have a monument you built which is going to take blood out of it. Yes, Mr. Balaji, I have something to ask you. See, you are been in the glass industry for so long, and what are the challenges you come across with these sort of constraints? When I say constraint, in your industry, I spoke about green again. Green also looks at how you plan your material. I mean, next stage, as Sanjay said, planning it economically. But unfortunately in India, yes, I have my glass supplier friends here, and I don't think they will take me hard on that because I'm still fighting with them. Every time we order glass to you, sir, I have 30% wastage. Do you think it's justifiable? Don't you think we are doing the biggest mistake in our life by throwing 30%?
Yes, we are. Who should we blame for that? Because you must be knowing what are the glass is available from the manufacturers. We are just processors. And if you ask us how can we charge 30% wastage, we are helpless. You must design it properly. You must design it accurately. After
Okay.
wastage,
Now, I think the other way around. See, to make a frame, it's not only glass. Say if I take a normal glass wall, if I design as per the glass size available, I have to use more aluminum. You got it? So when I take the 30% waste and if I focus to design your building, I'll be forking out 40% more to give another building. So don't you think something is going wrong somewhere? But it is not the same when I step outside India.
Here you want to save money, right?
But we are wasting money.
Yes, of course.
And then
It is with the consultants and designers and architects. Architect doesn't want to compromise on the new designs, and consultants don't want to know.
no, you're not touching the basic. You're not touching what I'm asking. When I step outside India, I don't have this constraint. See, when my architect comes to me to Salem, I want my panel for 3 meter by 10 meter.
Yeah.
I call my glass supplier order. I don't have this wastage component there. But in India, every single inch is defined to 3 sizes. Sir, we want our architects to be creative. And we complain, the builders are not paying us. We complain, client doesn't pay us more, yes. But I believe on our side, don't you think it is smarter for us to reduce this so that our profitability can be brought up? Yes, I think.
There's a very fundamental issue here. We always deal with this. We're dealing with the international client. They want their building to be based on modules.
Yes.
And common planning module is 300 mm, some multiple of that. Why do we have glass top sheet sizes which are 3.2 something, 2.2 something?
Yes.
It's not even a multiple of that.
Yes.
You need a glass mullion to mullion distance of at least 1.2. It has to match with the false.
Exactly.
So now only a few manufacturers have 2.44 by 3.66. Great, all credit to them. Now, and I'm not joking, like you said, 30-40% wastage is actually happening in a project I'm working on right now. Very simple building strip windows.
Sir, you understand the truth. This is our hidden secrets if you all think. If a contractor claim that I'm not making money, but unfortunately, you look at the inside truth. We were forced to buy something which got 30% wastage.
Yes, sir.
And at the end of the day, it's not Mr. Balaji's mistake or it is not the supplier's mistake. But the unfortunate thing, again, I repeat that word, dumping. What glass you get today here as a size, if you go outside India, they used to give this 20 years ago. So we are 20 years behind. 20 years ago, any country, you go, okay, this is the stock size, you take, you go and do your building. But in India today, we are facing that. So that is a basic problem. But if you go to the glass supplier, what he comes up with, yeah, he will come up with his different idea. So we have to start looking great. So, Mr. Balaji, how we can change it? What do you think there is a way to change it, right? How we can change? How we can change this? What do you think? Can we all say to the glass supplier, either you give glass or I don't buy? Is that a way to change?
You there do have some restrictions on producing glass.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we will have to design as per the size available, or we should ask them to produce.
He is going to say the glass size of it. You are going to take the size of glass of it. Yeah, I know that. So, Karan, you want to add something? I think he will definitely support the glass manufacturers.
No, I think I'm completely on the side of the architect because they can't really change the sizes. They have to worry about modulations. They have to worry about the internal partitions for the cabins and all kinds of issues. The real issue in India here is an infrastructure issue. But the number of float lines and infrastructure available here is not similar to what we have in China or other countries in the world. In China, you wouldn't have this issue. For a large project, you would have sheets cut to your size to optimize it to reduce the wastage. It's even done in the Middle East. You hear buildings in Abu Dhabi where companies who are partners with the sheikhs in the development, they develop the sheet sizes, so there is no wastage on that.
So there is a
It's
possibility.
an Indian infrastructure issue, which is more than the processor. It's relating to the float glass manufacturer.
Yeah, that's what I was
Balaji
as a processor.
As a processor, we are equipped, most of our processing lines are equipped to handle larger size of glass.
Yes.
But unfortunately, what happens, coated glass are coming certain size only. If you take the clear glass, for example, most of them are using 3 to 1 by 6.1. That's what we are using glass as our raw glass. That means we are using that glass and cutting that to the required size of yours. But coated glass, it should become that you should ask the manufacturer of coated to give the sizes closer to your size.
Good. So
With that, they can be given the.
somebody will kill me. Yes, Mahesh.
See, the glass modulation is fine. What I say, you glass wastage is another issue. It's not all. The problem in India is there is a ECPC norms which control 40-60% in the water ratio. There is a shading SSG value which is 0.25. We cannot get a higher ALT. Then you are forced to go for certain performance classes, and then you end up with the limitation of sizes. At the end of the day, because of that, you pay extra.
Sir, I'm asking for solution. I said the problem. How we can see. Today we are talking about future. I'm not here to talk about yesterday. So in future, what we can do?
Yes, hello.
Because in the last 5 or 6 years, we have achieved 0% glass wastage for every single of our buildings, whatever the design. So this is achieved just by having the contractor on board early in the stage of the project. When you have a contractor giving the right inputs to the architects and designing your facades, I mean, of course, if you are talking about a difference of 1 or 2 inches, which is not acceptable, then it's a different story, of course. But largely, we have been able to achieve 0% glass wastage for every single of our project, whatever the design is.
If you're flexible and for any of the projects which
That's what
are
I'm trying to
least
say.
It
You know,
just requires proper engineering and
No,
working out
what I'm
during the design stage.
what I'm trying to say, when rest of the world they can do, they can avoid wastage, they can plan. We have to do it in India. What is the way forward? Okay, we understand what we need to do. We will take it from rest of the world. We put it in the guideline. Then we go forward.
Salom, the primary issue here is that in India, all the glass is offline coated. It's 90% post-temporal glass. That is the primary issue. Because the glass is manufactured in sheet form, coated, and then processed after that at a biology glass or at a processor.
No. See, to conclude
Abroad, you
this,
have
to
online
conclude this,
coated
what I'm
glass, which
saying
reduces
is,
wastages.
if
There's
rest
the
of the world,
infrastructure issue.
rest of the world can do and save that money and go green, we should follow that. We will follow what the rest of the world follows. We'll put it in the guideline and we take it up.
you know that to conclude, I tell you, Selvam, rest of the world are in proper planning and execute the job on time. So the glass can be pre-manufactured as the cut-to size requirement. But
Sir,
in India,
that's what I said, sir.
listen, India is the last minute do. So whatever the stock available and you take and use, then you end up paying the wastage.
Great. Okay, we have to move on. This will go on, but there is a way to do it. We know the way. We will put it in the guideline, and we see how to improve as going on. So the next question I would like to go forward. I have to cut few of them here because half an hour we have to make it. I just want to touch a simple thing about safety with regards to fire codes in building. How safe we are today in the buildings what we design, which means, see, we have seen a non-fire rated material. So first of all, the material itself has given us a big headache. Second, in the design, yes, for sure I can vouch for it. Yes, we adopt certain fire barriers. But my question is, are we equipped, at least if there is a fire, are we equipped to evacuate? Are we equipped to save the people? Most of the accidents when I was here for this past 8 years I have seen, there are a lot of misconception about facades when it comes to fire. But if you look at the record really well, a building where there was a glass facade, the evacuation process was done much faster than a traditional building with a brickwork and a punch window. I have the data. If anybody would like to verify that, they can verify. But unfortunately, recent time I started reading article, certain fire officer or somebody sits down there and say glass buildings are not safe. So how we can address this sensitive issue? And worst of all, in this part of the world, I still don't have the answer. 10 years I'm asking. Every floor plate I need to have 20% openable panel. For what? I don't have the answer. Okay, even if it is openable, what is supposed to do during fire? The answer I got at least for that, when there is a fire, Selvam, you have to open the window. Okay, great. 3, unfortunately during fire you go and see the window, there is no lock because they want a removable handle because it's unsightly. So how we can conclude this? See, rest of the world, what they do, they plan a proper evacuation process. They identify the glass for the firemen to break and get in and evacuate the people. Similarly, any occupants who are here, they want to get out, they can break that nominated glass, the glass which is marked. So how we can address this in the guideline? Can we follow the right norms, what people follow, where it is proven, where people are evacuated, or we still blindly follow the openable process or anything?
See, many of the building active fire protections in place, passive fire protection not precisely addressed, first of all. You talk fire, vertical separation, horizontal fire separation, fire stop for 2 hours, totally not addressed. You know, we are doing a lot of buying by somebody, built by somebody and buying by somebody, and we've been appointed to do due diligence. So when you go for due diligence, it's very scared to give a report for the between buyer to seller. So it's not addressed. Second thing, for example, in a public transport, you go in a air conditioning bus, I seen in India, they put a hammer on every 3 panel, they're putting a hammer so they can break inside the bus. You can listen.
Just stop here, one second. There was 3 fire accidents over these past few months. And what upsets me a lot, I get grievance. The bus which went into flames are bus which are done by people from abroad. And and if they think and they can substantiate, my bus is safe. But poor life, we lost our people. And not our Indian buses which went on flame, unfortunately. So the dumping is happening everywhere, not only in facade industry. You know, if there is a hammer to break, you break it, you get out. So similarly, why you can't apply it in the facade, which is followed everywhere in the world?
No, that's the example I'm saying, I'm trying to say. The bus, they have the hammer, and every 3 panel, they breakable tempered glass and put a mark, break the glass and escape. Or they provide a handle for door to go out on the left-hand side or right-hand side, wherever, alighting from the bus. The same thing in the facade in other part of the world. They put a triangular mark, breakable tempered glass,
Yes.
and they put a hammer on the facade,
Yes.
and you can break and do it.
Okay,
Here-
good.
here-
Can
here
I
is a-
follow that? Can I follow that? That's my question.
Yes, you should.
Can I follow that?
We can. We've done a large project now where there are no openables and only breakable glass. In fact, in Bangalore and Hyderabad in South India, it's quite commonly followed. But in Bombay, I don't think any projects have much breakable glass. It's all openable.
So what do you think, Mahesh? From now, can we start following breakable glass?
Yes, you can you can do that. Even you can address to the. See, the problem in India, every CFO has a different approach in every state. If I say go to in every state, we are addressing all over the India projects. Some CFOs say I want 5%. They can't see a pressurized casing. Even if there is no mechanical ventilation to extract the smoke out. You know, when you ask all these questions to, in our design brief or anything for checklist to get it done, no one is there to answer. We get an answer, please follow a standard. Please follow code. So if you follow the code and NBC says whatever combustible material must have 2-hour fire rating, and they classified in tabulation in the 2.33-26 from onwards is specifically mentioned. Even the NBC says pressurized staircase has to be addressed precisely, and it has to be vestibule doors or panic bars. Nothing is going to happen. Even here, fire access door, everybody is locked. Even emergency people can't get out of the fire door.
Okay, just one related to the one common question I ask in this gathering. You can raise your hand for this question. How many of you in this past 6 months in the premises where you live in have gone through a fire drill? Can you raise your hand? Fire drill in the
Fire drill
building,
or actual
fire
fire?
drill, evacuation procedure. So in the last 6 months you have done it in the building where you live in. So is that periodically done in your buildings? It's part of your company structure? Great. So we'll adopt this.
No. Maybe the people raise the hands. Most of them working in MNCs. I believe. Huh? No,
yeah,
pl-
good.
please go raise hands. Please say, I'm working in MNC or local companies, right? Second?
No, we don't know. We just wanted to find out actually. No. So we just wanted to find out, sir.
Yeah, my name is Nagaraj. I'm working in Shobha Developers. It's a real estate company.
So good.
We
What
have
we
a
are trying to
policies.
take is the good things
Yeah.
to our Bible. We are writing the Bible. So we are asking the good things. So that is a must. Sir, please. It's not the 5 people here who raise the hand. There is 310 people here. Tomorrow when you go to office, tomorrow is Saturday. Make it a policy. Every month, one Saturday, all I do, just go to my sprinkler room, switch on the alarm, and train your people how they have to get out of your building. Please do that. Let's start. Okay, good. So I think there we run out of time. Otherwise, we will go on carrying the. Sir, yeah, there you are. Sorry, we have to rush a little bit this presentation because the next one is very important for us to go forward. I have to thank the panelists for their views. Actually, whatever you discuss here, what we at least get a feedback, this will be documented. By end of this year, in December, you will see it in the guideline. We are trying to do our level best, but at least the participation is from the public, which is what we wanted. So which we got. We thank the audience as well as the panelists for giving us a short opinion. Yeah, it's a long drive, but we take
I
as we
can
go.
say that thanks for giving your thoughts process. This is the beginning, and definitely we'll keep buzzing you to continue the discussion and come to a final conclusion. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.